please tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Aleakwe. So my name is Neil Shah. I'm a software consultant. I work for a company called Halogen Software. I've been there about 5 years. I've worked in that industry for 13 years. I've lived in London probably about the same time. From the northeast of England, I grew up in the countryside in North Yorkshire, and quite proud of where I come from. It's a lovely place. It's a lovely part of the world. What else can I tell you about myself? So I'm a gay man. I'm South Asian. My family comes from a place called Gujarat in northwest India. And yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm 41 years old.
So the program is about meditation, and if you could tell our viewers what meditation is.
Okay, so I guess there's different types of meditation. Meditation is really about focus. So you focus your time and energy on a particular point in space and time. And basically there's different ways to approach it. So there's mindfulness, which is what I practice, and there are other types of meditation as well. It's quite common throughout different religions. They have meditation in both Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, Christianity, Islam. So the practice is quite widespread. I think in terms of how people are approaching it is becoming more mainstream. So that's different organisations have, especially, well, for example, where I work, we have a program as well to sort of initiate that or encourage that as part of the daily practice at work.
Okay. So when did you start meditating?
Okay, so that's an interesting story. I guess if I start about my first experience, which was probably about 4 or 5 years old. I was at a friend of the family's place. We were having lunch, I believe, and they were sort of preparing lunch, and I just ended up going into trance at a very young age, and I had an out-of-body experience, which I couldn't really describe at the time, but looking back, I found that it was both a frightening experience, but also a very peaceful and loving thing that happened. So my spirit or my soul was at the top of the room, looking down on everything. It was that experience that kind of drew me into trying to find that space again. My family are Jain and Hindu, so I guess they not necessarily encouraged that or indoctrinated that, but they kind of encouraged me to find a way to practice meditation.
Tell us about Jain. What is that? A faith? Is that a religion?
It's a religion. It's very similar to Buddhism, and I guess it has more similarities with Buddhism than it does with Hinduism. But Hinduism and Jainism kind of grew or evolved in the same region, so there are a lot of things that they have in common. There's different principles. One of them is strict non-violence, so you practice non-violence, and to an extreme form. So you don't harm anything. You don't try not to kill anything, basically. So including plants and.
Is meditation part of that kind of faith and ritual?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So meditation helps you to find that space where you are complete unison with your life, the universe, and beyond.
Okay, and so I take it you practice meditation now in your adulthood, and
Yes.
How does that manifest itself now?
Well, it varies really. So I try and meditate at least twice a day. So when I start my day and when I finish. But sometimes I do it within the day as well. So like take some time out at lunchtime or after lunch to have a moment of contemplation and to gather my thoughts, to process things, and also I use it when I'm troubled or I have a need to take time out and to take stock of a situation.
It's great to have that semblance and peace and anchor your thoughts and yourself. But to be honest, with so many distractions, how do you do that twice a day? How can others?
So it might only be 5 minutes that you've got. So when I started on this journey as an adult, I could only have 5 minutes before I was interrupted. So I kind of just focused on that time period, and I think that really helped me to sort of get into the practice.
Also, so tell us about the initiative that you have at work.
Okay, so we had a program called Be the Change. It was really a gift to all of our employees at work. So I work for a software company. It's performance management software, and we have a lot of focus on feedback, being a good employee. What does it take to be a good manager, things like that. So Be the Change was really something that we initiated for ourselves as a company. We wanted to get to a point with our organisation to really embody what we talk about when we speak to our customers. So meditation or mindfulness was part of that initiative.
That's brilliant.
It was quite a broad program. It was over the course of 2 days, but yeah, meditation was part of it.
So what was the impetus behind that, and how did your colleagues react?
So yeah, I guess that was an interesting thing. Like for a lot of people, it was a new experience. So the first time that we tried meditation as a group, as part of the workshop, because it was something quite unusual, there was the usual reaction, yes, giggles and laughter, hysterics. The second time we tried it was a lot smoother, I guess. So yeah, some of us are quite used to doing that. There were also people that were quite into it as well, and some skeptics.
Were the skeptics overcome once it was put into practice and seen?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Okay. What's good? I think that's a brilliant initiative. It's actually needed, because it surprises me. I know there's a lot of initiatives, but actually to put into practice is another thing. And for me, just to say, I would always love for there to be book a meeting room, have a power nap, productivity. But until that happens, this is great. So this is great to know about. I wanted also tell us about, putting that power, spiritual power, into practice in other ways.
Okay.
So, me as an African, yourself as, how would you identify?
British, Indian.
Okay. So we have both experienced racism, overt and covert, and I wanted you to tell our viewers your experiences of that, and how meditation was applied.
Okay. So throughout my life, I've had a number of racist or homophobic incidents occur, and unfortunately, from a very young age, I remember as a child walking with my mum and my sister. I think we were probably less than 10 years old, and being called names, and I think my mum was spat on one occasion as well. So, meditation can't really help you to avoid that situation, but what it can do is help you to transform yourself so that you can deal with these challenges or difficulties or the world at large, because we can't control what's happening outside of ourselves, but we can control how we react to that. So,
how old were you when that happened?
Probably under 10 years old, I think, so quite young. And unfortunately, it wasn't the last time. It's continued throughout my life. A few years ago, I was on a tube, and I was attacked off the Piccadilly line by 6 guys after a football match. So it was England versus Portugal, and that left a lot of negative emotion within me, a lot of pain, anger, hatred, resentfulness, and just really I was just getting on with my day, and why did something like this happen? So what I found was that my meditation practice was always coming back to that point, and refocusing on that, and trying to make sense of it, and working through that sort of emotional distress, I guess.
And tell us the process of working through that. I mean, you did that, you survived that. How do you feel about that? What happened in the, recent, kind of fast aftermath of that? And then what support did you get, if any?
So I guess you learn in those situations to support yourself, and because I guess there's no other person that's going to have all the answers for you, or have a way forward for you that you can just deal with what happened. So yeah, you learn to sort of process things yourself, and I think meditation had a very good part to play in that. It helped me to change the way I was reacting to situations. take the anger out of a lot of situations I was
And
in.
so you said you didn't know why it was happening at the time. Now that there's some sort of distance, even though you carry this, and you're the cowards that attacked you. Why do you think they attacked you? What's called? You're on the tube carriage. There are other people around. So what do you think it was? What was the root of their violence, do you think?
People are afraid, and some people, when they have that fear, they will go on the offense. So they'll attack the object of what they're fearful of. And I think sometimes it can be a person, or it can be an institution, or it could be anything. But they'll just go out there and beat that individual up because it embodies what they fear more than anything. So, and I think coward is probably a wrong word to describe it. When you get to that point where you accept what's happened, I think part of it is actually not feeling sorry for them, but having compassion, because they are in a state where they're thinking that the only way forward is to really hit out and strike something. So forgiving is part of my practice as well. So learning to forgive others, and also forgiving yourself as well. You can carry a burden for being attacked or being a victim, and yeah, I think forgiving yourself is really important.
The reason why I use the word cowards is mainly because, separate to being fueled by drink, machismo, group thought, and that violent instinct, not one of them stopped. It's a cowardice. It's willful. You have a choice to stop, but they didn't. So for me, that's not powerful, and they weren't powerless, there's that kind of, So I stand by cowardice for it, because I don't see you as a victim. I see you as a survivor of that. You've learned from that experience. I'm forgiving and I'm hopeful that they have as well, but they're still cowards at that point in time. What's it called? But I don't see anyone above or below anyone else, but I see you as for that and hearing that, a kind of extraordinary human being and more powerful by the sounds of things.
Well, I think after that episode, I soon realised that I was a little bit helpless in terms of finding justice or a resolution to it. So I really had to let go of what happened, and it took me a long time to do that. It wasn't easy, and it was a daily sort of routine of going out there and forgiving, and having that compassion or love as a basis, and trying to spread it across the universe. In Christianity, there's the saying, love thy neighbour, love thy enemy. So I think forgiveness is a big part of that. If you can't forgive, there's no sort of love that you can share with the outside world.
Okay. This is off script now because I'm gonna have to ask this. Okay, we know each other, and what's it called? Biggest hearts in the world, do no harm unto others and stuff, and that kind of love your enemy and love thy neighbor. I do believe in. You should know your neighbors. You should do kind unto others. But for me, someone lays a hand on my friend. Someone that lays a hand on mine, there's no love. There's no love there. You can understand what they're going through, but it's that whole kind of thing of protect your own. So I'm also trying to understand. I'm conflicted in this, is what I'm trying to say, in terms of beyond skin. There's people who are at war with their family and friends. There's people, I would help a stranger. That's our instinct. You step beyond skin, you will help. It's your instinct. But this whole thing, love self, is what I'm trying to say. When people ask, whose side are you on? I'm on mine. I'm on my side first, and then I will defend my own, or who will stand beside me and be a soldier. But loving your enemy when they want to do you harm.
It takes a lot of courage to do that, and in a lot of ways, I'm not there yet, but it's where I want to be.
Yes.
The way that I see the universe is that we're here, we exist as beings, but we're all part of this same network, this same ecosystem, the same thing. So when you think about it on that respect, you might be a speck in the sky, looking at it from the other side of the galaxy. We're just one thing. Oh, collectively we are one entity. So hating someone or hurting you or resenting them for doing that, you're just harming yourself. So I learned that quite painfully, really, but I've learned that lesson. You can't hold on to hate or sadness for that length of time.
And that really that's a mental courage. Mind over matter, really the physical. And even though it sounds draining every day, it can be applied. It's possible. I salute you, sir. I salute you, brother. Okay, thank you for that. I wanted to know